I stood just outside the kitchen door in our old ranch house in West Texas, my heart thumping like a wild Mustang. The kids didn't know I was there, eavesdropping on their hushed voices. "She's draining us dry with all those medical bills," Jack muttered, his tone sharp as a cactus spine. "We've given her enough time. It's time to move on," Sarah added, cold as a winter norther. Mike just chuckled, like it was some barroom joke. They were talking about me, their own mother, like I was yesterday's trash. After all I'd sacrificed for them, pouring my soul into raising them right in this harsh desert land. In that instant, something shifted deep inside me. I wasn't going to beg for scraps of affection anymore. I straightened up, a quiet resolve settling in, and reached for my cell phone. No more playing the victim, I was done. Back then, I wasn't this wrinkled old lady with creaky joints and silver hair. No, I was a tough young widow fighting tooth and nail to keep our family afloat after my husband, Tom, died in a freak accident on the oil rig. Jack was barely a teenager at 14. Sarah was 11. And little Mike was just 8. We lived on our modest ranch outside Lubbock, with nothing but dust devils and debt piling up. The funeral wiped out what little we had, and the bills came rolling in like tumbleweeds. But I swore to myself, these kids are going to have a shot at something better. I picked up 2 jobs, waitressing at the local diner by day, cleaning offices at night. Sleep? Maybe 4 hours if I was lucky. But I never let them see the exhaustion etching lines on my face. I'd whip up huevos rancheros on Sunday mornings, bandage every scraped knee from riding bikes on gravel roads, and cheer at every school football game, even if it meant hiking through a dust storm after a graveyard shift. When Jack dreamed of college, we didn't have a dime for it. So I pawned my wedding band, the last piece of Tom I had left, and scraped together the rest from odd jobs. I never breathed a word about where the money came from, just handed him the check and said, "Go make something of yourself."
So,
Sarah hit rough patches in her 20s, a messy divorce after a shotgun wedding, and she lost her job at the feed store during a drought. When she needed a down payment for a little house in town, I tapped into my Social Security savings without a second thought. "Money's just paper," I told her. "You deserve a clean slate." And Mike, he was the free spirit, always chasing the next big thing, bouncing from rodeo circuits to oil field gigs, racking up tickets and tabs. I never shut the door on him. I'd fry up steak and eggs when he showed up hungry, cover a payday loan here and there, even let him crash in the spare room for what was supposed to be a month, but stretched into 2 years. I gave everything because that's what moms do out here. We tough it out, hoping our blood will stick together through thick and thin.
but now?
Now I was too expensive, like an old pickup truck rusting in the barn. Not worth the fix. The day after I overheard them, I sat on the porch swing, flipping through a dusty photo album under the relentless Texas sun. Pictures of dusty birthdays with piñatas, high school graduations in cowboy hats, kids grinning with missing teeth after falling off horses. They were so innocent back then, full of wide-eyed wonder and dependence. When did that turn sour? When did I become a problem to fix instead of the rock holding us steady? Sarah dropped by that afternoon with a stack of brochures for assisted living facilities. "Just some ideas, Mom," she said casually, like picking out a new fence post. I forced a smile and nodded. "Appreciate it, honey. I'll think on it." Jack called later. "All business. We figure this is the smart move."
Mom. A spot where pros can handle things.
Nothing personal. Nothing personal? Every sacrifice I'd made was as personal as a brand on cattle. Every late-night worry. Every hug after a storm. Every "I've got your back" whispered in the dark.
I didn't fight back.
Didn't shed a tear in front of them. That night, I dialed up old Mr. Harlan, Tom's buddy from the rigs, and now my attorney in town. It's go time, I whispered. Get those papers rolling. You certain? Emma, he asked, his voice gravelly, with concern. Dead sure, I replied. This wasn't about getting even, it was about reclaiming my dignity, ensuring I'd never be tossed aside like worn-out boots again. I'd loved those kids with every fiber of my being, but it was high time I loved myself enough to stand tall. The assisted living place Jack picked was a rundown spot on the outskirts of Amarillo. All faded stucco and chain-link fences baking under the sun. I showed up with a duffel bag and a Ziploc of basics. It's basic, but it'll do, he said, dropping me off without crossing the threshold. The lobby smelled like antiseptic and overcooked beans, and the aide who checked me in barely glanced up. Room 112. Meals at set times. No wandering after dark. My room was a shoebox, twin bed with a lumpy mattress, a rickety dresser, and a TV that buzzed like angry bees. I sank onto the bed, letting the quiet wrap around me like a dry wind. Was this really it? Shoved into a corner like forgotten tack in the barn? But I shook it off. This was temporary, a means to an end. I wasn't here to fade away. I was here to observe, to test the waters. That first week, I played the part frail, a bit scattered, the old lady they expected. I'd hesitate before speaking, fumble with buttons on my shirt, let them think I was slipping. It worked like a charm. Staff started treating me like furniture, ignoring requests for fresh water or a phone call. One night, the isolation hit hard, and I let real tears flow, no one checked. But I kept my eyes open, jotting notes in a hidden journal, the director skimping on supplies, aides vanishing during shifts, a family slipping a bribe for better care. I saw old Mr. Jenkins from down the hall trip on a loose tile and lie there moaning for 10 minutes before help came. The nurse snapping, "Up you get." Again, like his hurt was a nuisance. I called Mr. Harlan from a payphone in the lobby. "Dig into this facility," I said low. "Got it," he replied. No questions asked. A couple days later, my granddaughter Emily visited, the bright spot in this mess. The only one who still saw me as Grandma Emma. Not a chore. She brought homemade pecan pie and a snapshot of us at her college rodeo win. "You holding up, Gran?" she asked, tucking a strand of hair behind my ear. I paused, tempted to spill it all, but held back.
I'm okay.
"Darlin'." "Just weary." Her eyes scanned the peeling wallpaper and untouched lunch tray.
But she didn't pry.
She just held my hand tight. After she left, I propped the photo by my bed. It fueled me. This wasn't vengeance. It was about truth. Seeing who truly cared when the chips were down. This dump might look like rock bottom, but for me, it was the turning point. Emily was the one who stumbled on the envelope. She'd been swinging by more often, smuggling in little comforts like a soft throw blanket or fresh peaches from the market. One afternoon, while I nodded off in the armchair, she rummaged through my old leather satchel for my crossword book. That's when she pulled out the sealed letter, addressed to her in my looping script from a few years back. I'd tucked it away, half hoping fate would handle the timing. When I stirred, she was perched on the bed, holding it like fragile glass.
Gran.
"What's this?" she whispered. I straightened. "Alert now." "That was for you, but maybe later." Her brow furrowed. "Can I open it?" I nodded slowly. "If you're up for it." She slit the flap and unfolded the single page. My words stared back. "Dearest Emily, if this finds you, it means your heart's still true." Taped below is a key to a safe deposit box at West Texas National Bank. Number 317. What's inside is yours alone for now. Trust me on this. All my love.
Gran Emma.
She flipped it and peeled off the small brass key.
Gran.
What's in there? I managed a small smile. Head over and see. The next day, she bolted back to the facility, cheeks pink from the drive, hands fidgety. We hunkered in a quiet corner of the rec room. There's a revised will, bank docs, and a note to Mr. Harlan, she breathed. I nodded, steady as ever. She gaped. You redid it all ages ago. Yep, I confirmed. Right after your dad and Aunt started treating my savings like their personal ATM. And when Mike hit me up to sell the ranch for his poker debts, that was the last straw. I had to safeguard what was left. Emily went quiet, processing. The will. It all goes to you, I said softly. The ranch, the nest egg, the mineral rights Tom bought way back. She clapped a hand over her mouth, eyes misty. But why me? Because you show up empty-handed. Just to chat. You remember anniversaries without reminders. When you look at me, it's with love, not calculation. Tears spilled over. I haven't looped in anyone else, I added. Not Harlan. Not your folks. Keep it zipped for now. She wiped her face, nodding fiercely. I swear.
Gran.
The routine at the home dragged on like a slow cattle drive. Oatmeal breakfasts.
Melons.
Blaring soaps on TV.
Bland lunches.
Afternoon naps. More pills. Supper at 5 sharp. Lights dimmed by 9. It was designed to dull the senses. Keep us compliant. But I was sharp as a tack. Biding my time. Piecing together my plan. One evening, after the halls quieted and snores echoed, I heard the signal for soft knocks. I cracked the door to find Mr. Harlan slipping in.
Hat in hand.
You're looking spry, he murmured with a wink. Seen better sunrises, I shot back, offering the chair. He sat and unpacked a slim file. All set. Transfers complete. Will airtight. Assets locked down. Emily's your power of attorney now. Emergency contact too. I exhaled. Tension easing. Much obliged. Harlan. You dead set on this? He pressed. Once the ball rolls, no stopping it. I met his gaze. They chose this path when they dumped me here and forgot to check in. He dipped his chin. Emily's on board. She's been noting the neglect, like skipped safety checks and watered-down meals. His eyes narrowed. That could spell trouble for this joint. It sure could, I agreed. We're building a case. Harlan handed me a prepaid flip phone. Only me and Emily have the digits. Ditched the landline. Too traceable. I stashed it under the pillow. They won't miss me till I'm long gone. He rose, clapping my shoulder. We're close.
Emma. Hang tight.
I saw him out, then lay awake, mind whirling. Everything was lined up, well updated per Texas probate laws. Accounts shifted to trusts.
Ranch deed protected.
All that remained was the getaway. A few sunups later, I staged the scare, waited for the shift change, then hollered, gripping my chest like a vice. Chaos erupted. Aides wheeled in oxygen, yelling for paramedics. They bundled me into the ambulance without double-checking my chart. At the ER in Amarillo, I played possum through the pokes and scans, no real issue. Of course. When the doc stepped out for results, I slipped away. Emily idling curbside with a blanket. Time to vamoose. Gran, she said, hustling me to her truck. We didn't head back. Instead, we tore north 2 hours to a rented cabin near Palo Duro Canyon, a peaceful hideaway Harlan had squared away, overlooking red rock vistas Tom and I once hiked. I settled by the window, watching sunlight dance on the canyon walls, nursing coffee Emily brewed. For the first time in ages, I felt free as a hawk. Back at the home, it'd take days to notice my absence. The kids would get frantic calls. Let 'em stew. I was out from under their thumb. And the real reckoning was brewing. It was precisely 4 days before the alarm bells rang. The facility pieced together I hadn't returned from the heart check, pinged the hospital. Then the EMTs. Finally dialing my kids. Jack blew up Harlan's line first, voice cracking with worry, or maybe greed. Sarah left teary messages. Mike, a lazy text. Mom okay? Like I was a misplaced wallet. Harlan executed flawlessly, mailing each a certified letter from his office. Jack's read, son. You pushed to liquidate the ranch for your flipping schemes. Never once asked how I was faring, just what I could cough up. You wired cash instead of showing face. Forms instead of care. Called me a drain, but forgot the wells I dug for you. I've rearranged things my way. No input needed.
Emma.
Sarah's letter hit home. Darling, I always pegged you as the empathetic one. But you stood mute while they plotted to warehouse me like old machinery. I craved respect. You offered efficiency. Chose ease over effort. So I pivoted too.
Mom.
Mike's was blunt. Mike, I pulled you from more ditches than stars in the Texas sky. Believed in your turnarounds. Opened my home and purse. But when I hit rough terrain, you ghosted. Laughed me off as costly. Won't be so funny now.
Mom.
The fallout was textbook. Jack barged into Harlan's office the next morning, hollering, "Where's she at? This is nuts." Harlan coolly slid over the revised will. Jack scanned it. Color draining, ranch, savings, oil royalties, jewelry. Everything funneled to Emily as sole heir and guardian. Why her? He barked. Harlan leaned back. She bothered to be there. Sarah phoned that night, voice quivering.
Mom.
We messed up bad. Didn't aim to wound you. I listened via the burner. Silent. Let me make it right. I'll drive anywhere.
Click.
I hung up. Emily lounged beside me at the cabin, canyon winds whispering through the screen. She didn't quiz me on the call, just refilled my mug and squeezed my hand. They'll hunt us down, she murmured. Let 'em, I said. I'm not dodging, I'm healing. We sat in companionable quiet, the weight lifting. For once, they were the ones scrambling blind. And me, I savored the calm. The summons arrived like a thunderclap. You are required to attend the formal reading of Emma Caldwell's last will and testament. It smacked down on Jack's counter, sending Sarah racing to Harlan's doorstep, Mike trailing and hungover and befuddled. They were clueless about my whereabouts, and that gnawed at them worse than a coyote on scraps. It wasn't me they'd lost, it was their grip on the reins. The reading unfolded in Harlan's wood-paneled conference room, law books looming like judges. Jack arrived suited up, tense. Sarah fidgeted with her keys. Mike sprawled, feigning nonchalance. Then Emily entered,
Poised.
clutching a binder. Eyes darted her way. You, Jack snarled. She ignored him, seating beside Harlan. He cleared his throat, unfolding the document. To my children,
Jack,
Sarah, and Mike, I bequeath the following. Silence hung heavy. Nothing material. The air thickened. Not from lack of love, but because you ceased viewing me as kin. Saw me as an invoice. A hassle to outsource. Mike bolted upright. This a prank. Jack flushed crimson. She's been coerced, this ain't binding. Harlan arched a brow. Executed 5 years prior. Witnessed. Notarized under Texas statutes. Long before the facility. Sarah whispered, trembling. We never meant harm. Harlan shifted to Emily. To my granddaughter Emily Caldwell. I entrust the entirety. Ranch. Accounts. Royalties. Personal effects. And full legal authority, he added softly. For the unwavering compassion she extended, Jack exploded. This is robbery. Bypassing blood. Emily unflinching. Opened her binder. Snaps of the home's neglect. Leaky roofs. Outdated meds. Unattended falls. Documented per state regs, she said. Harlan pushed forward more papers. Physician affidavits affirming Emma's sound mind. Plus handwritten notes to each. Sarah sobbed opening hers. Mike ignored his. Jack stormed out.
Door rattling.
Post-reading. Harlan told Emily. She safeguarded herself. But rewarded your loyalty. Emily's voice cracked. I never angled for it. Exactly why, he replied. Outside. Dusk painted the sky orange. For me, tucked in the cabin, it felt like closure's dawn, not bitter, but freeing. They'd grasp what they'd squandered. And my story wasn't sealed yet. I hadn't intended to face them. But after Emily relayed the reading's drama, I knew words were needed, not for payback, but resolution. A chance to voice the hurt, maybe plant seeds of change. I had her set up a neutral ground, a community hall near the canyon. Simple as a line shack. They showed guilt or greed drawing them. I waited behind a partition as they settled. Jack rigid. Sarah tear-streaked. Mike sullen. Emily stepped up. Thanks for coming. Someone wants a word. The curtain parted, revealing me upright. Eyes clear. Stronger than the frail shell they'd imagined. Gasps rippled. Mom,
Sarah choked.
Jack stammered. You staged it all. Mike gawked. I advanced. Voice even, hello. Kids. Shock froze them. Then Jack erupted. You faked illness. Vanished. Let us think the worst. I mirrored what you believed. I countered. That I was feeble. Disposable. I overheard that kitchen confab, draining us, move on. Instead of exploding, I observed. Tested your mettle when push came to shove. Sarah wept. Mom. I froze up. Didn't mean to let it snowball. But you did, I said gently. Quiet complicity stings deep. Honey. I faced Jack. Ambitious as ever. But entitlement crept in. Expected gratitude for drive-bys and checks. Treated my legacy like dues owed. He averted his eyes. To Mike, I hauled you from pits endless times. Rooted for your comebacks. Yet when I stumbled, you bailed. All of you. I inhaled deep. The will shift wasn't rage-fueled. It was clarity. I couldn't endorse neglect with inheritance. Emily stood solid beside me. She's not stealing, I clarified. She's given what you withheld. Genuine care. That's her merit. Jack rose. Seething. So we grovel now? Beg for scraps? No, I said firmly. Reflect. This moment's your mirror. To Sarah, you had family bonds, chose convenience. I chose self-respect. I turned, striding out unaided. Emily trailing.
Outside.
Canyon breezes carried wildflower scents. Birdsong mingling with distant echoes. No regrets shadowed me. I hadn't torched bridges from spite, but illuminated truths. The old me, endless forgiver, had evolved. Stronger, wiser, at peace. In the weeks that followed, the dust settled slower than a West Texas sunset. Jack lawyered up first, contesting the will on grounds of undue influence, claiming Emily had manipulated me. But Harlan was ready. We dotted every I under Texas probate code, with mental capacity evals from 2 docs and video affidavits of me explaining changes years prior. The judge tossed the suit quicker than a bad hand at poker, citing no evidence of coercion. Sarah tried reconciliation through letters, heartfelt apologies mixed with pleas to meet. I read them by the cabin fire, feeling a tug, but held firm. Mike, radio silence at first, then a drunken voicemail. Mom, I screwed up. Gimme another shot. Classic him. But I didn't bite yet. Emily became my anchor, helping manage the ranch remotely while I regrouped. We spent evenings on the porch, her sharing dreams of vet school, me recounting tales of Tom and our early days wrangling cattle through droughts.
Gran.
Do you regret cutting them off? She asked one starry night. I pondered. Not regret, it's a lesson. Families ain't just blood. They're built on mutual respect. Maybe this wakes them. And slowly, cracks appeared. Sarah showed at the cabin unannounced.
Hat in Hand.
No demands, just tears and a genuine, I'm sorry for not fighting for you. We talked hours. Unpacking hurts like unpacking saddles after a long ride. She admitted the pressure from Jack, her own fears of aging alone. I didn't forgive instantly, but listened, planting seeds. Jack followed suit months later. After his real estate deal tanked, karma or coincidence, he arrived humbled, admitting greed blinded him. I took you for granted,
Mom.
Thought the ranch was mine by right. We walked the property line, me pointing out spots where he learned to ride. Rights come with responsibilities, I said. You forgot that. He nodded, vowing change starting with visits.
Nos trines.
Mike was last, showing up sober for once, fresh from AA meetings. Hit rock bottom without your safety net, he confessed. Taught me self-reliance and how much I need family. We shared coffee, him helping fix a fence, small steps mending big rifts. The will stayed as is. Emily's stewardship ensured fairness. But I amended a codicil, small trusts for each kid, released on milestones like therapy or community service. Not handouts, but incentives for growth. It wasn't perfect. Scars lingered like brands. But in this vast western expanse, where horizons stretch endless, so does potential for redemption. One crisp fall morning, we all gathered at the ranch for the first time since the blow-up, a tentative barbecue. Emily at the grill flipping burgers. Laughter mixed with awkward silences. But it was a start. Jack shared work woes. Sarah her new counseling gig. Mike his sobriety chip. I watched from the swing, heart swelling. This wasn't the fairy tale ending, but a real one, messy, human. I taught them, love ain't infinite without reciprocity. And in reclaiming my worth, I'd given them a chance to reclaim theirs. As the sun dipped behind the mesas, painting the sky in fiery hues, I felt Tom's spirit nodding approval. Out here in the West, where survival demands grit, family endures not by blood alone, but by choices made in the heat of trial. And that, folks, is the true inheritance. The reconciliation didn't happen overnight. It was more like nursing a lame horse back to health, patient and deliberate. After that initial barbecue, we set ground rules, monthly check-ins, no money talk, focus on rebuilding trust. Emily mediated like a pro, her calm presence a balm. Jack surprised me by volunteering at a senior center in Lubbock, sharing stories of oil booms and busts with folks who lived it. "Reminds me of you, Mom," he said over coffee one day. "Tough as nails, wise as owls." I smiled, seeing glimmers of the boy who'd helped Tom mend fences. Sarah dove into family therapy, dragging us all in eventually. Sessions were raw, tears, accusations, breakthroughs. She owned her passivity. I hid behind peacekeeping, but really, I was scared of conflict. I shared my side, the loneliness of widowhood, the quiet pride in their successes, the gut punch of betrayal. I didn't plot revenge, I confessed. Just protected my peace. Mike stuck with sobriety, landing a steady gig as a mechanic. He started small acts, fixing my truck unasked, bringing wildflowers from the roadside. "Trying to earn back what I lost," he muttered. Progress wasn't linear, setbacks hit, like when Jack slipped into old habits, pressuring for ranch details. But we called it out, forgave, moved on. Legally, everything held solid. Harlan ensured the trusts complied with IRS regs. Distributions tied to verifiable steps, proof of counseling for Sarah,
Clean drug tests for Mike.
community hours for Jack. Emily managed the ranch sustainably, leasing pastures for ecotourism, turning it into a haven rather than a cash cow. "This land's our legacy," she said. "Let's honor it." I nodded. Proud, she embodied the values I'd instilled. As seasons turned, scorching summers to mild winters, I reflected on the journey. That eavesdropped conversation could have shattered us forever. But instead, it forged something stronger. The drama of revenge evolved into a narrative of growth. A gentle lesson in the American West's vastness, where self-reliance reigns. True family thrives on empathy, not entitlement. We learn to see each other anew, not as burdens or benefactors, but as equals navigating life's rugged trails. One evening, as we gathered around a bonfire, stars blanketing the sky like diamonds on black velvet, Jack raised a toast to Mom, the heart of this family. "We almost lost you, but you pulled us back," Sarah added, "and to second chances." Mike grinned. "Here, here." Emily squeezed my hand. I looked around, warmth filling me deeper than any inheritance. This was the real twist, from shocking betrayal to unexpected healing. And in that, we found our forever bond.